I've been able to make a significant amount of money online, or some would say significant, some wouldn't, selling AI to businesses. And in this video, I'm going to be walking through the entire process of how I've been able to do it. Now, some of you might be asking, okay, why are you doing this in the first place? Well, first reason is I've got a lock on the niche, and the second reason is 99% of people watching this video won't take action. So if you give me 25 minutes, you could change your life. If you don't want to, no problem, you can skip the video. Now, to show you that I know what I'm talking about, this is my Stripe. This is one of my dashboards, $614,000. This is another with 40,000. Wires, PayPal, crypto. I'm approaching the $1 million mark online, and I'm only 20 years old, so very thankful, and I'm blessed. So let's walk through this video now that you know that I know what I'm talking about, and break down everything. So the first thing and the most important thing when going into any business, really not just selling AI, is your niche, okay? If you try and go and you sell to everybody, it is going to be 10 times harder in the beginning, especially in the beginning, because you don't understand the market, you don't understand your audience. The fulfillment process is going to be very, very, very difficult. It already is difficult within the niche because the expectations online are so high. And the market has reached, somewhat of a saturated, people say saturated, but it's just a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing. So as long as you understand and you're fulfilling in the market, all good. So the first thing you're going to, and don't worry, I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So first thing you're going to do is pick a niche. I separated it into these three categories here. You have home service, you have professionals, and then you have info product. If you are new to the online space, home services is going to be the sweet spot, what you're looking for. These are non-tech savvy people. These are the easiest to sell to. The problem with that is you'll see competition here. Professionals are one of the hardest to enter. If you haven't established yourself in the space and you don't understand the market, it's going to be very, very hard to break into, and very difficult to break into, just because it is a sophisticated market. They know what they're doing, and they are smart, lawyers, with the law school, passed the bar, etc. Same as, dentist accountants or dentist doctors, right? Went to medical school. And then info products are tech savvy people. Now, don't get me wrong, you can target the market. I have a buddy who's in the info product space, and he does marketing, as well as he upsells them on some other stuff. And he works with e-com companies. He's doing $500K a month. So you can go with any niche, really. You're going to find success. But the most important thing is to pick a niche. Now, once you've picked your niche, you're going to decide your offer, okay? Now, for this example, I'm going to use home service as an example. Let's say roofers, okay, or HVAC. Now we need to decide the offer, okay? The three most important things within deciding an offer, and the three pillars of business growth, are lead generation, appointments, so turning those leads into appointments, and then closing the deals from the appointments. You can't do one of these things without the other, especially in this business. Especially in this business model and in this space, okay? You need to generate leads. You need to then turn those leads into appointments, and then you need to close the appointments that you're booking on the calendar, of course. So how are we going to do this? Obviously, market research. You're going to look, what are the core problems? How do home service businesses currently generate their leads? And then how could we generate leads for them? So looking at something like, lead gen through Google, Facebook, and Instagram ads. Okay, that could be a way. Could be cold outreach. Could be a referral campaign. It could be signs, right, that you're posting. Whatever it may be, the lead gen. So we're going to stick with Google, Facebook, and Instagram as this offer. And then the appointment generation is going to be using AI callers to schedule appointments with the leads. Now, I personally suggest right now not relying solely on AI. So what I'll do eventually, and what you'll do eventually, is you'll delegate the role onto having like an AI manager. So you'll have AI going, and then for the times it makes a mistake or isn't running, or need somebody to overview it, you'll have like an AI manager in place. Obviously, that'll be you to start, which is completely fine. It's a lot less work than hiring on somebody and manually calling and texting the leads. So for now, I would just use AI chatbot, AI phone caller, whatever you want. And make sure you're overseeing and managing that AI, and then eventually delegating that to an AI manager. And then closing deals. So let's find a way that we can enhance sales scripts or increase the close rate, whether it's modules, consulting, whatever it may be. Okay, so now that we have our niche and offer decided, okay, how do we fulfill on this offer? Now, the most important thing, and what a lot of people get wrong in business, is they think that they're running a business, but they're working a job, okay? They create something that cannot be left without them, and we don't want to do that. So in order to make sure that we aren't doing that, and we're creating something that can eventually be delegated and passed on for somebody else to do it, so it's not tied to us as the business owner, we're going to create the offer and the fulfillment process to plan it ahead. Okay, this is not something you're going to implement right away. It's something you're going to plan ahead so that you understand when we get to that point in the future, we can implement it right away. This can work for beginners and also for existing agency owners that are doing 10, 15K a month already. Okay, that might be you. Now, this is the financial arbitrage process. Okay, it's pretty simple. So client provides the money. you allocate funds to a contractor. Contractor performs the service is delivered to client, and then the business or you retains the majority of the funds. So the cool thing about this is there's no risk. You're not paying somebody and risking that you're, losing money on an employee. Contractors are paid on a commission basis where they come in only for specific projects. So if you have one trained and ready to go, as soon as a client comes through, you use the money that the client gave you to pay the contractor, not paying out of pocket, right? If you were to have an employee or somebody on full time, you'd pay them a salary every single month out of pocket, and then eventually the client would come through and you'd make the money back on the business. So this is a bulletproof process that once you get to that point where you want to start delegating and you're scared about bringing on employees and losing money to payroll and not having work for them if something slows down on the acquisition process, this is really good process and something that we use currently to date whenever we have like a custom request from a client. Because right now we have the process delegated and an employee who's working on it full time just because the fulfillment system and acquisition system is consistent. But anytime there's something custom, we'll literally just hire on a contractor after the client pays us. So they'll give us 10 grand. They'll say, hey, I want Google ads. We have no idea how to run Google ads. And then we'll allocate the funds for a contractor, hire on a contractor, et cetera, et cetera. Now, how do we fulfill specifically for the offer? So this is the arbitrage process, but specifically, how are we going to fulfill for this, like the lead gen for Facebook, Google, Instagram, getting appointments, whatever, because we don't know how to do it. These are the main ways that I would do it, but on top of this, I would suggest that you learn how to do it yourself, okay? Whether it's YouTube, whether it's ChatGPT, whether you're paying for coaching, consulting on learning how to do this. The main reason being is because you can rely on hiring a marketing agency to do lead gen. You can rely on hiring a developer from Upwork. Same thing for VA on sales scripts. But the problem is when it comes to actually bringing on an employee or maybe trying to increase and improve your fulfillment process, you are going to need to train that person. They're not going to come in right away and be able to outperform you with what you do as the business owner. So Dan Martell, he always says, be prepared that for every person you hire on, they're going to do 80% of what you were able to do as the business owner. So that's, right off the bat, 80%. He's talking like A players are doing 80%. So if you really want to improve your fulfillment process, learn how to do it yourself. Okay, delegate it. Work together. Do kind of both. So delegate the process. Outsource from a marketing agency, and then eventually, you will understand the process yourself enough to where when you hire somebody on, you can teach them. You can create trainings for them, and if something goes wrong, you are there just in case as a plan B. Now, how specifically? Okay, where do I hire a marketing agency? You could literally search up white label marketing agency on Google. And there's like a million searches. I have no idea why it's on Yahoo, but you have so many, right? Like Monday.com. You have just so many options, okay? And then how are we going to fulfill for the AI developer? So basically, what I personally suggest is using Upwork. Upwork is really, really cool because of the search feature. It's literally like you're Googling for an employee and a contractor. So this is what it looks like. It's the talent. And you're literally Googling. You're literally like, so what are we looking for? AI developer, right? Literally search up AI developer and you can see their hourly rates, AI developer, AI engineer, AI developer, chatbots, and you can see their hourly, which is really, really cool because you can be selective with the payment and you can also, negotiate better. So if you see somebody that's charging $50 an hour and the fulfillment process on average for your client takes 10 hours, you could say, hey man, I know you charge $50 an hour. I have a 10-hour project, maybe let's do it for 400 or whatever. Try and negotiate down. And then same thing, hiring a VA, you can do that on Upwork as well. So let's say like a sales script writer. Okay, and then you have like these guys, 25 an hour, 85 an hour, copywriter, 20 an hour, whatever. Okay, so remember, you're not paying for these guys out of pocket. This is the delegation process for once the client pays you, you outsource and allocate the funds to a contractor. And you can even prep it. You could have a bunch of these guys ready. You can literally message them, I'm pretty sure, before. And be like, hey, I have this in this project. Is that something you'd be interested in doing before you even pay them? And then you can just have a list of them ready to go when a client comes through to help you with the fulfillment process. Okay, how much do we sell this for? So there's a couple of ways that you can go about it. Personally, what I'm going to suggest, I don't currently do this, but what I do suggest in the beginning, get as much as you can up front. Charge $10,000 up front for like a 3-month period, just because it gives you more money to play with to assist with fulfillment and also more upfront cash to help scale your business. You're not going to be building monthly recurring, so you are chasing sales. That's the only downside. And that's also the other way that you could price it. So you could price it instead of a large upfront, you charge a setup fee like $2,000-3,000, and then you charge a monthly retainer of $2,000-3,000 per month. It's going to build monthly recurring revenue. And personally, I would suggest charging that monthly retainer once you have a proven fulfillment process, because if you aren't properly fulfilling for your clients, they're going to leave you and they're not going to pay you every single month, I promise. So it needs to be worth at least that investment. I would say double just to be safe. And then you can start charging a monthly retainer for your clients. So $10,000 upfront, 3 months of support, or a monthly retainer fee. And then your client should be covering any ad spend or software fees if you're running ads or anything like that. So don't worry about that. Some people I've seen have it included, but that's only if it's very low software costs and ad spend. So it's just a unique exception in case scenario. Now, what are the profit margins? Now, this is the cool thing. So if you were to learn everything yourself in the delegation process, minus ads, you're 100% profit, which is really, really nice. This is with a delegation. Okay, so this is something down the line I recommend, because you should learn your fulfillment process. You should understand how to do it best. And then eventually delegate that and improve and train and etc. So this is the profit margins. You're looking at about 66%. 1,500 will go to that white label agency, 500 times 3 months. You can find many white label marketing agencies for $500 a month. $1,000 for the AI dev, that's on the high end. You can easily get it for $500 or less. Like our first software engineer that we implemented, we charged him $200 per build. That was most of the work. We didn't even run ads, so it was like crazy margins. But anyways, and then the VA 300, like that's also on the high end. So 66% profit margins, which is really nice. And then if you were to break this down monthly, it would probably be higher long term, just because you have them on a retainer. So after 3 months, you're making more money, right? Okay, now, Nick, we've picked a niche, we picked the offer, we understand how to fulfill on the offer, how to specifically fulfill for it, how much to sell for it, the profit margins. How are we actually going to find clients for this? And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to need money for ads, okay? You are going to need to spend money on ads. You can go the cold outreach method, but it's going to be 10 times harder. You are now reaching out to clients. The pro is that you can pick who you reach out to. The con is you are reaching out to them. You need them. They don't need you. When you're running ads, they are reaching out to you. They need you. They're desperate. Okay, there's still competitors on the market, but ads has a huge leverage because the client is coming to you. You have so much more control. You are in a much higher position of authority. So that is what I recommend. If you don't have money for ads, I'm talking like $1,000, $2,000. Just work a job, save up money until you can pay for ads. Now what we're going to do is run on Facebook and Instagram. You can test out Google, but for this offer, it's going to be best on Facebook and Instagram. And we're going to create everything that we need, the headlines, primary text, the creative, the funnel, all on ChatGPT. Okay, so create an ad script for me to sell my conversational AI phone caller to local businesses. I need a headline as well as a primary text and a good hook to keep the lead wanting more. Could go even more specific here. Create a bunch of ad scripts for me to sell my marketing plus conversational AI phone caller and chatbot to HVAC local businesses, right? And then you have a more specific headline, and ChatGPT will ask you more questions. Now, there's 2 ways to structure these ads. Most of the time, what's going to work is the UGC talking head. You are telling them what your offer is right off the bat. You have some sort of pattern interrupt with a hook in the beginning where it's like a rock falling, or some AI VO3 creatives where you're really, really attracting their attention. And I'll show you what that looks like right now. So as you can see here, I did a sequence. So I had a bunch of different videos combined, and then I just attached them together. This is the prompt that I used. So attractive blonde with big breasts for educational purposes, woman 20s, style casual clothing, blah, blah, blah. Blonde woman script, foundation repair and waterproofing companies. You might think you need marketing. Word of mouth is enough. We're busy right now until your business looks like this.
Foundation repair and waterproofing companies. You might think you don't need marketing. Word of mouth is enough. We're busy right now until your business looks like this. Foundation.
So pretty cool. VO3 works really well. There's also a couple different ways you can go about it. You can use a voice video where an AI is talking to a human. I've seen people do interviews. So they go in person. They're like, hey, do you think this is AI? And they talk to the person. Basically, what you're doing with the ads is you're using a sort of, grass is greener, shiny object syndrome, where you need to stand out on the market. And your main job is to attract attention. And then it's more important on the logistics side. Okay, the AI is just the shiny thing to get them to click on the ad. Everything else in the actual offer and the meat and potatoes is the lead generation and then converting those leads into appointments. So that's the most important thing. Now, after that's done, they click on learn more. You're sending them to a funnel. So I would send them right away directly to a lead form. You're capturing their info. A lot of people send them to web forms. I don't suggest that. So you send them to a lead form, and then once they click on that lead form, they get sent to a funnel. I would directly send them to a calendar page, so they're booking. And on the calendar page, just have questions about the business, what they do, if they have the money to invest, have they watched the pre-call video, and then do they, make sure that they're going to show up to the call. And then after that, once they've booked, they'll get redirected to the thank you page. Quick video just introducing us to the company. If you can have a nice professional background, that's good. That's my business partner there. And then just making sure that they confirm and watch the event and they've watched the pre-call video. If you don't know how to make a pre-call video, ChatGPT it. I also have a couple YouTube videos where I walk through how to do that. Now, the problem is once people have filled out the lead form to the booking page, about 1 to 3% of cold leads are self-booking. Okay, so that means if 100 leads come through, 1 to 3 are going to self-book. Now, that is a big problem. Okay, ads would never be profitable if that was the case. And this is most lead forms, like I said, or most funnels. You can have funnels that are above average results, of course. How we're going to solve this is we're going to use the exact system that we sell, which is SMS lead nurturing, email sequences, and then chatbots and phone AI callers to book them in. So this is doing one of two things. It's increasing this. This should increase by another 10 to 15% minimum, the booking rate. And it's also showing that we practice what we preach. Hey, if they hop on call with you on the sales call and they ask you like, okay, how do I know this is going to work? Well, sir, you were nurtured by AI. You spoke to AI over text. You got sent emails sent by AI, and you got here using AI nurturing systems. So the fact that we got you on the phone right now, we're on the call, proves that we can do that with anybody. And then we have a proven system, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's really all you need to do, and that's what it's going to do and help a ton, because you're showing the perceived value and you're showing, okay, this is what we're going to use for you specifically. And I'm telling you, the best way to build confidence in a product, aside from just the way that you say it and the way that you sound, is showing them, okay, this is what we're actually using. It's like, if you saw Gordon Ramsay promoting a product, one knife, and then he uses another, it's not the same as if you saw him promoting a knife and a product, and then you see him in the kitchen using that same knife that he promoted. It's a whole nother story. So the most important thing is, like I said, I covered that little sales call bit, but pitching the client. You want to make sure that you're showing perceived value. You don't want to get into detail on how the AI works and how it functions and how amazing AI is. Obviously, sometimes you'll have some technical guys, but you just need to break down the numbers. So once we get your onboarding form submitted, we start creating your ads. Ads are reviewed. Ads go live. We set up the AI caller, SMS sequences. AI is booking in the leads and the reminder calls, and we're refining the sales process as the time goes on. Then you're just breaking down the numbers, okay? If we get you 20 appointments per month on industry average, 35% close rate. You guys don't have industry average. You guys are above, you're at 50%, but let's use that as a conservative example. You're closing 1 out of every 3 leads. So that means you're closing 3 out of every 10 conservatively, which means you're closing 6 out of every 10 at a $10,000 offer. You're closing $60,000 and you're only paying us 10 grand, right? 6x return on investment. That's how you're going to structure it, okay? Perceive value and make sure that they understand it. So as you can see, I do know what I'm doing from the breakdown of the chart. My 2 processors. This is something that I've managed to master at a young age. And I hate to say the word master, but I do have a hang of it. I do have the hook. I do understand the market and the process on how to sell. And that's why, with confidence, I know that anybody that I work with will do the same and will be able to crush in this market. So if you're interested in working with me personally one-on-one for 6 months, I do have a opportunity for you. You can work with me one-on-one as well as my business partner. We help and essentially hold your hand with everything: how to run the ads, how to fulfill, how to scale the business to 50, 60K plus. You do have to run through an application, so it is an extensive application process, and we do need to see that you are committed in yourself, so it does require an investment. If that sounds like something you're interested in, first link in the description below. If not, take care, and I hope you find some value from this video and some of my others. Take care, bye-bye.